Shabbat shalom, everyone. You know, it's very difficult, I think, to really describe the roles that music plays in our lives. We know, for example, from scientific studies that it stimulates many parts of the brain. It affects us in so many ways. It impacts the way we feel. Loud, raucous music can make us very uncomfortable. Soothing music can calm us. It impacts the way we act. Music with a beat gets us hopping, while slow music causes us to slow down and literally change our body movements. And of course, it also triggers memory. Two of my favorite examples. There is a video of the great cellist Pablo Casals at an event when he was an old man being honored. He's sitting right in the front row. When he is called up to the podium, it takes two people to lift him up out of his seat and get him moving. They literally lift him onto the dais and literally physically lower him into his chair. They place a cello between his knees, put a bow in his hand, at which point he begins to play the cello, a piece he has probably played 1,000 times, and the stiffness of his body disappears. It comes to life with a dexterity and a grace of movement that you could not believe that body capable of. Another video of a former Bolshoi dancer, a woman well into her 80s, again, without the ability to really move well. Suddenly, the music from a ballet she once performed comes on. And though the lower part of her body can certainly no longer move well, her face and her arms suddenly take on the role that she had danced so many times. And with a grace and dexterity you could not imagine this old woman you pulling up, her arms and her face begin to perform as though she were on stage. In this vein, you also probably know that music is often used in care units for patients with memory problems. Play a song from a person's past and they respond. People who never speak have been known to sing words of a melody from their past, especially if it's a song that has meaning to them. For us, actually, probably the most interesting way to judge the impact of music is in movies. In paying tribute to John Williams, Steven Spielberg said recently, "Without John Williams, bikes don't really fly, nor do brooms in kiddish matches, nor do men in red cape." Those scenes without the music would never have the same impact as they do with it. Music lifts us, it frightens us, it reminds us, it causes us to move, and it causes us to remember. It is certainly no accident, then, that music plays an important role in every religious tradition. Music, somehow, the way I like to say it, music gives wings to our prayers. Think of the great music, for example, written for the church, Bach's St. Matthew's Passion, Handel's Messiah, the Verdi Requiem, not to mention the myriad hymns written for the regular service, many by the great composers of classical music. This is no less so in Jewish liturgical music. There's always been music in the Jewish worship. We know that during the temple days, the Psalms were sung. Once the temple was destroyed, the music in the synagogue took a different route because musical instruments were no longer allowed to be played on Shabbat and Yom Tov. The music was all a cappella, no accompaniment. The rabbi actually played a very small role in conducting the service. It was chanted by the cantor. And there's probably no better example, in my opinion, of music giving wings to prayer than the Kol Nidre. The words are simply a legal formula. That's all it is. And yet with the music, they rise and become the highlight of the Jewish year. Torah, of course, was always chanted, not read. And the trope marks over and under the words and the letters are actually a fairly sophisticated system of musical notation dating back some 1,500 years. I've even learned from Howard Stern that Jewish music is actually a bit of a shibboleth. I want you to listen to this part of an interview with Adam Sandler back in 2018.
In the new Netflix special, you sing a song about being a bar mitzvah boy.
Yeah.
Isn't that the single most weird situation in your whole performance
Bar mitzvah?
life? Bar mitzvah.
Yes.
People are evaluating you on how well you sing this secret language. What do you say when I say, Baruch hu et Adonai hambarach?
Baruch Adonai Avarach Le'olam Va'ed.
It is a secret language, I guess. Chief among the changes in music made by the founders of Reform Judaism has to do with the way in which music was presented. Reform was founded in the late 18th century in Germany, and many of the reforms were based on practices in the German churches at the time, chief among them, the addition of musical instrumentation, especially the organ and choir. Even the architecture in Reformed synagogues is impacted by musical change. The location of the organ and choir is not an accident. It's up there rather than down here, designed to give the music a sort of ethereal quality as though it's coming from above rather than below, sort of heavenly rather than earthly. This change brought about a vitality in musical composition throughout the 19th and 20th centuries. What you heard tonight is but the tip of the iceberg. You likely would not recognize the names of the composers, but you do know their music if you grew up in a Reformed synagogue during the 20th and early 21st centuries. And you can still hear much of it on Yontif and on these wonderful Shabbatot that the cantor arranges. While some of it is maybe a little singable, most of it is written to be listened to be lifted by, designed for cantor and soloist and choir with full arrangement, as it was done in the church for the organ. It was during the flourishing of this style of music that Anne came to Emmanuel. They were truly halcyon days for this genre of Jewish liturgical music. And Anne probably has as much familiarity with and as anyone in the country. Her knowledge of the breadth and depth of this music is quite astounding. So I want to say something about Anne and the choir, or I guess I should say choir, since over the many years, people were added and others left. Though Anne is not Jewish, and few of the choir members over the years have been Jewish, they have always known and presented the music knowing that they were not here to perform music. They were here to give wings to our prayers. And for 58 years, Anne has been at the heart of that music which has lifted us. Shabbat in, Shabbat out, holy days in, holy days out. Not to mention her wonderful work with this terrific volunteer choir that she has supported so well. Professionally, by the way, Anne has a doctorate in music arts from Rice University, and her focus was on the music of a composer by the name of Herman Berlinski. Now, I doubt any of you recognizes that name. But if you remember the music on Rosh Hashanah during the shofar service, the one that follows the blowing of the shofar with the trumpet blast, that is an amazing piece of music, and that's the composer whose music she has a specialty in. His music was the focus of her doctorate. Anne's retirement from her work here of 58 years, honestly, is the end of an era for us as well as for her. As she and I noted just a few days ago, musical styles change as generations change. But Anne, are you up there? The legacy that you leave us is truly the legacy of giving wings to the prayers of literally 4 generations of members. It is deeply engraved in the history of this temple and the souls of our members. As a member of the professional choir wrote to me just recently, "Anne, you are a living link to Judaism's musical treasures and traditions." But beyond the musical gifts, Anne, you leave behind a gift of self as well. I know this has not just been a job for you. You are part of our family, and I know you feel like we are your family as well. You have always behaved with grace and elegance and poise and charm. Your sweetness is an essential part of who you are. The warmth of your smile is a window to the warmth of your very being, and it will remain with me and so many others as long as we live. You are retiring, but you will always be a part of us. So for Anne, for all of us, and especially for me, thank you for providing the music that has lifted my soul and my prayers from the day I arrived here. All of us wish you joy, good health, and a long life. You have done God's work here, and we who receive the benefit of your gift are changed forever. And we all pray, God bless you. And to this we say, Amen.